And we've got a panel for you. Steve Kim, the Korean Cosell, Scap Attack is here. Andre Baldwin is here to talk about the NBA All-Star Weekend and how the NBA All-Star Weekend may have been saved yesterday by, I think objectively, has to be considered a successful tweak to the All-Star format. The 4 separate games that they played worked, particularly the first 3. They were exciting. The players played hard. Are we all in agreement that yesterday was a success? Quick 15, 20-second comment on that. Steve, we'll start with you, then Scap, then Dre. Do we agree yesterday was a raging success?
It was a success. Sunday saved the weekend. I'm not so sure it saved the game long term.
Scap?
Yeah, Saturday was an unmitigated failure, maybe the worst that we've seen. But then Sunday's game was as good and as compelling as it has been in several years, I would say at least since 2020.
Dre?
It was a success in that the All-Star game was a better game than what it had been, but it was also a failure in that the purpose of the All-Star weekend is to draw in casual fans, and the weekend did not do that.
There's a lot of conversation. Victor Wembanyama came out and set the right tone, and that's why Sundays worked. I'm someone that believes the true MVP of the weekend was the Saturday event. It was so awful and so embarrassing that they had no choice but on Sunday to play a legitimate game of basketball, or this thing would have been an utter failure and would have been the entire talk. Saturday, Steve, in my opinion, the real MVP.
It may have been, but here's the issue. When you have a league whose mentality throughout the whole league is that the first 4 months or 5 months don't matter, that's going to seep into everything, including the exhibition season, which is the middle of the season, the All-Star game. And you start putting in gimmicks like a tournament that no one really cares about outside the league. So here's the issue. Yesterday was good. I was entertained. I thought it was actually pretty good as someone who's a hard-boiled cynic nowadays. But Jason, let's see the action and the effort going into the next 3 months. We still have a second half of the season. That's what people really pay for. That, to me, has been the root cause. And the root cause has now seeped into even things like the All-Star game. So, yeah, they tried for one day. That's great. But again, as Chris Rock once said, what do you want, a cookie? You did what you're supposed to.
Scap, agree with Steve here that, look, they did what they were supposed to do, and let's don't go overboard?
I mean, look, the NBA has been under fire by me, by you guys, by really fans as a large for several years with the lack of effort that we've seen on display for virtually the entire regular season and really even into some of these playoff games and series until the fourth quarter. And yes, there's been obvious seepage into the All-Star game, which has been as lousy and terrible as you could possibly imagine the last several years. But look, Jason, I told you, I invite your viewers to go back and check it out when we were discussing this in past days. Look, I said it's ultimately on the players to find some pride to compete, not the entire amount of players, just like 1 or 2 guys. And I specifically, you can pat me on the back later, I specifically called out Victor Wembanyama to be that guy, and he delivered in a major way. He individually went out there and basically dared anybody, and it became Anthony Edwards in the first game, and in the third game it became Kawhi Leonard. He dared any single player to get on his level and actually care about the game. A few guys did, and because of that singular moment, the game became very compelling and watchable. That's what we need to save Saturday moving forward. Nobody is taking Saturday seriously at all. Look at these guys that are competing in the slam dunk competition on Saturday. They're like 3-point per game career scorers, which I guess is better than the G Leaguer that three-peated in it the last 3 seasons. We need somebody. Look, Cooper Flagg, not renowned for his athleticism, but the guy's got an upper 30s vertical leap and he's like 6'10". Come out next year and say, I'm doing the slam dunk competition, and I dare you, let's say Stephon Castle, come out and get on my level and join me. That's what we need. Individual players, just a few, to care, to take the challenge, and to dare to be competitive again.
Scap, I disagree with you. I think the Saturday deal is completely unsalvageable, and they just need to stop it. I don't think it can be fixed. Anybody.
Jason, let me tell you. Let me ask you this: one-on-one tournament, $1 million in the pot per player. Per player, each player puts $1 million of their own cash in the pot. Winner takes all. Whatever. Let's say 8 to 10 guys. I'm telling you, that would be highly compelling, highly competitive. I've been dreaming of a one-on-one format since the late great Kobe Bryant was in his prime, because I would have loved to see him just mixing it up, destroying and trash talking all the other elite NBA players. We need that kind of thing to be unveiled in the Saturday festivities. But are any of these players man enough to step up and take the challenge? I think you can find some guys like Anthony Edwards, who, again, look, he showed off his competitive vigor yesterday. I think he could kind of lead the charge in this format that I'm talking about.
Dre, I think a one-on-one deal would be a mistake because it would overshadow the actual game and everything, and all the effort would be in the one-on-one tournament, and the game would fall back to what it was.
And what would be so wrong with that? I mean, the whole point of the All-Star Weekend is to showcase the best and the brightest that the NBA has to draw in the eye of a fan who doesn't normally watch the game. And if you get the biggest stars and they actually put their own money up, like Scap referred to,
that will never happen. Putting their own money up won't happen. But I hear you. Even if they compete, go ahead. I'm sorry.
If they were to have that tournament, let's say there was some type of prize on the table that they really wanted, excuse me, and they got the best and the brightest players to all compete.
Penicillin shots, perhaps, for maybe that would inspire. Anyway,
go ahead. Just the players who just made the All-Star game. Let's just make it a one-on-one amongst the guys who made the All-Star game. That would be interesting because people would tune in just to see what happens when these guys go one-on-one. I think it would draw in some non-diehard fans, which is the whole point of the All-Star weekend. Let's not forget.
Well, then I would make the one-on-one thing the Sunday event. And again, this whole 2 or 3 day weekend deal, it's over. And the Saturday, the Saturday deal was as embarrassing as I think anything we've seen in professional sports. Who's this Kashad Johnson? Did he win the dunk contest? I believe he won. His dancing, it's Raining Men is what they should have been playing while this was going on. It was the gayest thing I've ever seen among a group of professional athletes, because it wasn't just him. The whole Saturday deal, the NBA has been turned into a musical. In these NBA arenas, I see it bleeding over into football. Every 7-on-7 camps or musicals, the players on the field, they're all into the music, and that the embarrassment and the gayness of Saturday made these guys. There was no dancing on Sunday, none, and just competition. And guys, I don't know if anything could have been worse than the Saturday deal, and I give them credit for recovering slightly.
You say that Saturday is not salvageable. Keep this in mind. In the late 90s, they actually stopped the slam dunk contest for a couple of years. They put a hiatus on it. I mean, it got to a point where they did the spinning wheel of dunkage fortune, whatever that was. But then Vince Carter brought it back to life. But going to the dunk contest, I have an idea, because it used to be about the big names, Jordan, Dominique, and even all-star level players like a Ron Harper, Clyde Drexler, young Sean Kemp. They would all compete. And I had forgotten this. In 1989, Kenny Skywalker made his one contribution as a New York Knick. He won the dunk contest. You know who he beat in the finals? Clyde the Glide Drexler, a future Hall of Famer. So this thing used to have some juice. So here's what I would do now. I would just open it up. Don't have NBA guys. If they don't want to do it, don't do it. Get a bunch of those and one guys from off the playground. Go to Rucker Park, Mac McClung, let him back in it. Let him be the defending champion. Have open competitions, have tryouts. Because I've seen these videos, guys doing not 360s, Jason. Guys are now doing 720s. There are some guys out there on Instagram, you could look them up, who are doing some of the most incredible dunks. So I would say, look, you guys have run out of ideas. You don't care. Let's get these street ballers to get out there and revive this event.
Scap or Dre, what's your reaction to that?
Well, I can see Steve is watching my video still because I suggested that on a video on Saturday night that I put out about how to fix this thing. Like if the stars, in lieu of the stars, I still think the stars in the NBA, if there were 4 marquee guys that are scoring like 19 to 25 points per game, came together and competed against one another in the dunk contest, I still think that's the preferable route that we go in. But in lieu of that, if these guys are still too cowardly to take part in it, a precedent set forth by LeBron James, of course, most famously. But if no one else is willing to break that chain by LeBron, let's open it up because, as Steve highlighted, there are guys doing freakish and outlandish dunks right now that aren't on an NBA stage. And look, I think they kind of froze Mac McClung out of this thing this year. They didn't want him in to go for a 4th consecutive championship. He posted on his social media after the event the 4 dunks he would have utilized had he been in the contest this year. They were all better than anything we saw in the dunk contest this season.
Dre?
Up on Mac McClung, there was an article about him earlier this week, and it was talking about the fact that he's trying to remove the stigma that he's just a dunking guy, because he is an active player. He's in the G League. He's had a couple sniffs in the league, hasn't been able to stick. And while, yeah, he probably could have won it a 4th time, another thing we had to keep in mind is that big businesses like the NBA, Nike is another one, they often want to highlight and showcase their biggest talent because that helps push the league further. Let's say we get a bunch of nobodies off Instagram to get in the NBA dunk contest and they win. What does that do for the NBA's product? Absolutely nothing. Those guys go right back to Instagram doing what they're doing. It's not like they go sign with the Bulls or the Pistons because they won the dunk contest. So the NBA is thinking more on an enterprise level, not just let's get the best dunkers. They also have to think about business. So I think that's why, even though it's a good idea for us, the fans, we want to see the best dunks, period. The league says we want to see the best dunks from the players who can help move our business forward after the dunk contest.